Yo, everybody, it's Steve. But it's not an empty studio. We've got Paul and
BAM! Chief.
And lastly,
whoa! It's been flying retro.
That was a lot smoother in my head, guys, but execution was priceless. How are we all doing, guys?
Yeah, very well.
We're back to talk about the Benelux Catalogue. We didn't get through all of it last time, so here we are. More goodness for you, the viewer or listener, depending on where you're tuning in to this episode of GI Joburg. Yes, it's Steve and Paul, joined by friends from Talking Joe, the OGs, Chief and Ben. And we're here to talk about
ginger beer all over my PS3.
Oh my goodness. Not a single session goes by without a disaster.
Oh, during that jump on screen, I leant over and spilled it all over my PS3.
You are a natural.
Carry on. I'm on cleanup duty.
No console or action figure will be left standing after these recording sessions are done. But we're back to talk about the Benelux Catalogue from 1990. Awesome photography from another era, an era that very much informs where we are now today in toy photography. Of course, we need to thank Mr. Paul Panfalone of Plastic Battles for the images. And if you don't know this man's work, check out his website. It's in the comments below, plasticbattles.net. But we're going to plunge straight ahead, guys, because we've got a lot of awesome content to get through. But first, some great responses from our last video, and I'm going to summarize some of them for y'all. You can respond to them in a minute. I'm just going to lay them all out. Sergeant Slaughterhouse writes to us saying that, yes, indeed, there are two commercials, and the one shows the Warthog missiles blasting off and taking out the Stella Stiletto. The other one shows them knifing through the water. So, yep, you can play them both ways, as torpedoes or anti-aircraft missiles. Hey! Brother Malachi agrees with you, Chief, that he is enjoying the more zany characters now that he never enjoyed as a child. And, what else? Dusty's made an appearance.
Or as me and Chief called him, Loosey Goosey.
Well, it just goes to show how much play you got out of him, guys. Clearly he was popular. Kale Matthew Commendador says that he also recalls how this photography was very much in line with the Lego catalogs of the time, which is something that you guys mentioned off air, actually. Yeah, man. Awesome. And Ronald Hoff is very quick to remind us that in Europe, it seems like the Iron Grenadiers were actually folded into GI Joe, into Cobra, as with the BF2K folded into GI Joe and the Renegades. They weren't kind of marketed as a separate sub-team. They just were either good guys or bad guys. We have the United States to thank for letting us in on the secret that these were actually distinct groups. Anyways, Ben, I got something.
What you got?
So,
lift ticket in there.
There's lift tickets up front, along with his main man, Sci-Fi. I mean, you need someone with like training in optics to man that hog.
That is stunning.
You know it. Anyways, the challenge was to get these things to crank for like 15 seconds.
Well, the top one is no problem.
I don't know if I have enough real estate, but I'll give it a try. Ready to time me, boys?
Go.
Oh, good one. Have you've been lubing those up.
And stop. Okay. I don't think that was 15 seconds, though.
No, I had it at 17.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly, I've got the magic touch, too. But yeah. You've got, I mean, the thing about my Tomahawk is I always insist on, like, reversing the blades. So the front spin one way and the back spin the other way.
Is that
just like the real deal and not like the toy?
Right. Cool.
Which has the added side effect of like you're basically correcting the bend of all the years. So, you know, by reversing your blades, like they'll now bend upwards instead of downwards. Anyways, getting overly technical, but that of course is going to help it in the spin.
When you've done your play motion with that thing, can you get a camera into those footwell glass? You know, can you actually get that
Oh.
kind of angle? I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, the transparent plastic right
Yeah.
beneath the pilot and co-pilot.
So
Wow. You'd have to use a zoom. I don't think
Yeah.
I couldn't actually get a lens in there, even a GoPro. The problem is the seats just can't be removed.
Yeah.
So you got a very limited real estate.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Wow.
Check
You'd have to get
this.
like maybe an under the door cam, like a little wormy camera.
If
thing.
you take out a pilot or co-pilot, whoever. Come on, lift ticket. No, it's going to have to be sci-fi.
Yeah, lift tickets, buddy.
And you put the camera in.
Yeah.
So this is
You'd even then you could get the minigun doing a pan as well. Be sick.
yeah, tricky. Okay, I'm actually going to try and take a picture like that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Or
And then it's gonna splash up on the screen. It's gonna be like, "Cheat!"
It's quite tinted as well, isn't it? A little bit. I mean,
It's a bit starry. I mean, you're going to have to use some kind of cleaning agent to get some of that shine back, get some of that opacity.
yeah.
But you're pretty limited on camera movement. You're not gonna do much.
What stickerage have you got on that? Action Force or GI Joe?
GI Joe, mate. Got the
Right.
Action Force, as we said last week, sitting in a box back home with stickers unapplied.
That's your pension.
If only that was the case, man. It's not worth its weight in gold. It's
No, it's absolutely not your pension.
I think it trades hands at about $1,000. Yeah. Anyways, enough me chewing the air. Let's talk about some photography, boys. Image number 9. Paul is still sight unseen on this stuff.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna swing the mic to my main man, Mr. Lopesher, for his appraisal. What are your first thoughts?
Oh, dude, I'm just like, these rocks are amazing, and I love that bridge. I know it's so stupid, but I'm like, wow, and it really, and then like, wow, from there, and then also, are I need to call them imps. Thank you. I need to call them maggots for some reason. Are the imps missiles really that shiny?
Yes, they are a silver plastic.
But I mean, those
how-
look almost chromed. Like,
Oh, well, trick of light, I guess.
How deaf are the Joes?
yeah. Especially like, Lightfoot over there. But it is cool to see. I love these like little miniature sub teams that they're creating, like in this case, Lightfoot and Charbroil. It's great to see that kind of vibe. I don't know what they're doing up there. I know that Lightfoot's looking for bombs. Charbroil, it's difficult to set rocks on fire, I suppose. But hey,
Bro,
he's there.
Charbroil is about to toast some Cobra infantry and, well, Iron Grenadier infantry and Big Boa. I mean, those exposed cockpits are just begging to be flamed.
Yeah, and what happens to the driver? What happens to the driver of that vehicle when those rockets fire? Because he's got no sort of backblast shield protection as the rocket fires over his head.
He's got his helmet.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the marketing for this particular vehicle used the Toxo-Viper. And as we all know, they've got some pretty heavy-duty helmets. The cockpits can actually hold the figure a lot deeper. So basically just the helmet will poke out of the top. But of course, that would then hide the action figure, and that's no good for a products catalog.
I've never seen this vehicle in the flesh, maybe only seen it in a catalogue. I don't even know if I've seen it in a catalogue before. So
No, same.
it looks pretty cool, though. I like the shape on the track rather than just being a continuous, flattened oval. It's got the kind of arches going up like that.
If I was playing with those, I'd actually probably just use them as like drones, though, and not have drivers. I don't know. Look at Big Boa, though. One of my absolute faves. For Christmas back in the day, and had so much fun doing like training scenes and loads of like Rocky stuff.
What was just quickly, you boys will know, Paul or S-Jubs will know, the Rocky inclusion and then retraction from the Order of Battle. I know I got those 4 issues, and I think he was in there. Then he was taken out and replaced with the fridge. But what do we know the story behind his inclusion and then removal?
My understanding was that Rocky or Stallone's likeness had a competing deal with Remco, and they were going to do the Rambo action figures.
Right.
So it was basically like you cannot license your likeness to two competing toy companies. So it was either, I think it's Remco, the Rambo Force of Freedom.
Yeah,
animated
series. I watched a history of the Rambo action figures last week, little YouTube video from the Toy Galaxy site, which is really cool. And that Rambo line of figures looked really cool.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
man, ultra violent toys from an R-rated movie.
And he had a cartoon. He had a cartoon series as well, which looked pretty good.
I love that. I love that cartoon. Like, that was like Diet Rambo, and it was for kids because it did the whole and the. I love that. That was great.
It simulated the that scene from Rambo 2 where he's all kitting up, like you say, with the headband and knives and everything. That was part of the intro to the cartoon. Brilliant.
I loved it. Stephen, did we get Rambo toys here in South Africa? I don't recall seeing them. I recall seeing like big carded packs with like an Uzi and a headband. We got
plenty of licensed stuff, but and also like think about it, Paul. Rambo was hitting its stride in the mid '80s. We probably just missed that sweet spot, you and I.
Yeah.
However, getting back to the image, we got to roll back. Sorry. Yeah, we got to roll back on one of those points that we made in the previous episode regarding using these figures paired down and not with all their equipment. Because the fact that Big Boa is piloting or driving that imp, and he's still got his boxing gloves on, that's just absurd.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, both Charbroil and Lightfoot are fully kitted out, but then again, they're on the job. And I mean, not on the job, they're just on mission. But Big Boa, his gloves make him, man. I remember seeing that boy in a catalog years ago and going, why is there a boxer? And, are his hands like that? Can you take the gloves off? My mind used to wonder about that thing until I finally realized that you can take the gloves off, and that's made him even cooler.
Hey, Paul, they're not fully kitted up. Those Joes, it seems that Lightfoot, the photographer or whoever styled the toys, couldn't make sense of Lightfoot's strap. That really hard plastic strap that you're supposed to bend from his detection equipment into his backpack.
Yeah.
I could never get that to work myself.
I could very scaling that stunning rock face as well, to be honest with you.
The fact that it has that overhang, that kind of that crag moving up the side. I mean, it is a pretty incredible piece of topography, this rock structure.
Yeah, it is.
And the fact that it's just set against blue, it just gives you an idea of how high up they are. There's no terrain in the distance.
I want the next scene to be kind of below that with Alpine kind of scaling up the side. And all that kind of jazz, rock vipers and all that sort of stuff. Quality.
Also, if I was Big Boa, I'd be at the back of that convoy because that bridge needs to be strength tested.
I wanted someone to raise that. Yeah, exactly how much these imps weigh, because I don't know if that bridge looks up to it.
Whew.
Hey, there's no school like the old school. Whoever made that bridge made it to last. So,
and the last thing I want to raise about the imp, and Chief, you touched on this, but what is so appealing about its aesthetic for me is almost steampunky. It's kind of a throwback to designs from when the tank was in its infancy. In World War I, after the sort of the Mark I tank emerged, we had all these wackadoo designs coming out of Germany, France, and this is like that, with all the sort of angled shapes in the front, those triangular sections, and the fact that the tracks are so irregular and they have a sag to them. But shall we proceed to the next?
Ooh,
one of my faves.
Tell us about it, Ben.
Jeez. Well, I think this one, you can just do a whole story in your head here. There's so much going on. Look at Road Pig and Crocmaster. We were just talking about Crocs. Oh, man. And who else we got? We got Mercer, Storm Shadow, and what's that dude?
Budo.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. That is the lighting in that as well. Jeez. The way that you've got Crocmaster and Road Pig in that little bit of lit area there in the background.
Yeah, I like the fact that they've also put on the side of a hole with some kind of grating, so you can almost postulate that maybe this is where the Joes came in through that. They kind of cut their way through this grating, swam across to the other side. So you're even getting the story of how they came to be in kind of thing.
Mercer seems to be lit quite well, but I feel like he should be a bit more in shadow there where he is.
Truth, yeah.
But you got to show him, you know.
Absolutely, it's all about the products.
Rabbit.
Guys, this is unforgivable. I should have done this earlier, but I've just realized that Big Boa's name in the previous image in the Dutch is Big Boss.
Nice.
Love it. That works. Big Boss. Anyways, this image 10. Let's go. Can anyone explain what's going on with Budo's helmet? We've got to address the elephant in the room. It's like
has it just fallen off? It's just fallen off the back, and the guy's taking the shot anyway.
Yeah, I guess their attentions were being diverted elsewhere. They didn't notice that the helmet wasn't sitting on his head.
I want to argue another point and say that it feels like there's a bit of movement there. Like he's like just got in there, and then his helmet is like sort of, because he's got his hand on his sword, and he's just kind of arrived, and the helmet's just a little bit like, you know, maybe he's just going to quickly like go, oh, and then like reset it.
Then I'm going to take your ball and run with it, Paul, and say that this is the moment before that helmet goes clanging onto the floor and alerts the Cobras. Yeah, like we're seeing absolute drama right now. Mercer's seeing it happen. It's happening in slow motion for him. He's like, "Oh shit!" No.
How lush is the water as well? Oh my goodness!
And that is so cool. Airbrushing.
Yeah, That's not in camera.
That's no. That is in camera. When that water. They airbrushed it, and then they did like a gloss coat or something on that, or they put like resin on the top just to give it that little bit of shininess, or whatever. But there's a lot of airbrush there. I can see it because it's awesome. I can see it because I know what to look for, but it's really convincing. In fact, this whole scene, the second I saw it, I thought Mortal Kombat. That was my thing. I was like, wow, like Mortal Kombat, and I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, one of the people that did the art for Mortal Kombat, you know, saw this catalog. I wouldn't be surprised if they saw that and was inspired by like this shot.
What's Crockmaster holding? What's he holding there?
Oh, he's got his bullwhip.
That's his whip, brother.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. I didn't even know he came with that. I didn't even know he came with that.
Lash you up, Chief.
Yeah, fortunately, they didn't use the leash for the croc because it's a very short leash. So you wouldn't be able to get that kind of distance between him and the croc. What's through the red sun door?
Well, what I love is the way that it's not, you know, you've got that gorgeous light coming through. Like in my head, behind that door is tech and is a, you know, like a facility of some kind.
Yeah, well, what it reminds me of is Big Trouble in Little China when they go underneath into the sewer.
Lovely.
Yeah. And Mercer is Kurt Russell. Very good.
Rockmaster really sort of photograph well together with that, you know, the black. They really go well together, those two figs.
Agreed.
From a photography point of view.
And I wonder what they talk about. It's like, put the troublemakers outside. They can't be in here with the sensitive equipment.
But that's the other thing. I mean, we assume they're having a conversation because they're so well posed. They look so relaxed and so
well pumped.
Yeah, but also just, I mean, you got Roadblock on his, like, he's got his hammer there, his cinder block hammer, he's got his foot on it, and he's like telling Crockmaster about this really great cooking channel he's just watched, and Crockmaster's, you know, he's just chilled. He's so cool. And the Joes in the foreground, they seem more tense. They're like, it's just beautiful. Like, I love these toys. Sorry.
Yeah, it's awesome. But riddle me this. Do you think you could actually lose a little bit from the foreground? Like, do you think you could maybe lose Mercer? Or, I don't know. That image works if the Joes aren't even in it.
It also works, yeah. Very much so. Like, it could, I think it can work without anybody. Or should I say, it could work with just Crockmaster and Roadblock.
Yeah.
But, and it could work with, and it could, I mean, thank you, Road Pig. My bad. Or it could work with nothing, but otherwise, or it has to be all three of these groups, because once again they got a nice triangle going here. Sorry to be weird like that, but they got triangles and they got those two pillars that are like framing the scene there quite a bit. So it's either one group or all three or nothing. So yeah, I also think, I know this is a catalog shot, but I mean, if they wanted to get into it more, they could also make the foreground quite a bit darker as well.
That's what I was thinking, but they got a light, haven't they? Because Storm Shadow looks like he would actually be better pointing a little bit more towards Road Pig and Crocmaster, but he's kind of almost communicating with Mercer, no?
Yeah, because he's looking at Mercer. You know, he's making eye contact with Mercer. So
yeah,
they're saying on 3.
So guys, to the left, that beam of light coming from a surface grate or something, beautiful.
Yeah, Ben, I'm gonna counter you, man. I don't want to lose anything. I think this is cropped perfectly. There's so much story.
Yeah, there is. You know, they're smashing it with the lighting, aren't they? My goodness.
Yeah. And these oddballs, like, can I gauge everyone's opinion on Budo in the room? Like, who is this guy? What place does a samurai have in GI Joe?
I had him. I mean,
did you enjoy him? I mean, did it make sense to you? Or was he just one of the guys?
He was just one of my late purchases. To be honest with you, he didn't see much play. I don't think I was at the time cultured enough to understand how to play with him. I was like, "Is this guy a ninja? what is it?"
That's my point. I mean, in a modern or fantasy military setting, ninjas, thanks to the 80s, like, are posited as something that makes sense because they're sneaky, they're stealthy, they do things that you can't use conventional soldiers to do. But an armored samurai warrior who's not sneaky, it's badass maybe, but he's still running around with swords and no ranged weapons. Anyways, this is a topic perhaps for another time. But needless to say, love the composition, love the character choice. And I've just looked up that Mercer's Dutch name, Wissel, which I thought was like maybe weasel. No. Wissel means switch. So it's literally what he is, what his function is in the GI Joe mythology. He is the sort of character that switch sides.
You've got a lot of time for Mercer, don't you, S-Jubs?
I've recently developed a lot more time for Mercer, but don't want to give the game away too much. Gentlemen, shall we close the book on spread number 10? All right, here we go. Spread number 11, a cross-section through some frigid water and Voltar making a very handy escape.
What is he on?
That is the Cobra rocket sled. It's a death trap as well. It's one of those mini rigs or mini vehicles, those wind up and go jobbies. We spoke about the ATV last time. This is one of the Cobra equivalents, except it is just basically, I don't know, you're supposed to lie on your belly like that and ride it. Like, it would make more sense perhaps as a jetpack, but it's designed with handles, so that's the intention.
Chief Dog, could you lose the Voltar scene, or are you into it?
I think he might have been placed better in another one of the shots we've either seen or to come.
It works in the catalogue, though, doesn't it? As you turn, you get that. I mean...
Yeah, well, that's the double-page spread, isn't it? So I see what you're saying. You probably don't need him on this particular page, but...
See, I'd much prefer lose Voltar, shift that up to the right, and then just extend the image and see more of the ocean to the left. You know?
Yeah, where have they come from?
Just more of that, that stunning scene. I mean, I love the cross-section idea is really smart, and that pillar is fantastic. I really like that image. I'm not really too fussed about the Voltar bit, to be honest with you, but yeah.
I got to agree with you as well, because when I saw it, my initial excitement was from the water scene, not from the Voltar scene. And when I look at Voltar, I feel like there's more, and it's not in a good way. Like, I feel like I need to see more. Like, it's like it feels like it's been cut off.
But he looks like he's on a mountain ridge, but then these guys are clearly at sea level. I don't know. Strange.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that also all of a sudden looks very artificial.
Yeah, I mean, I know that with Voltar, they've tried to like put some like glacial sort of stuff in the background there to maybe try to marry these two images. But yeah, I think there's a lot more to that Voltar shot that we're not seeing, or that was
maybe
cut off.
these images are not meant to be continuous. Maybe because there is a page turn effectively separating the two quite neatly, that it's supposed to be the cross section of the water, and then Voltar is another piece of this base. So wherever that passageway that the Hydro Vipers are guarding goes to, maybe it goes up like a steep flight of stairs, and then there's this porthole that Voltar is escaping out of. Maybe it's just, we got to trick our brains a little bit better and disassociate them.
This guy's not going to be happy with Voltar.
And he's like, why are you running away?
Yeah.
Now, these backpacks that the Joes have got, again, are these are wind up underwater things that you could actually get?
Yeah, very much in the same vein as what Tomy was producing earlier on in the decade, or the 80s, I should say. Wind up and goes like Zoids or Starias. Toy Galaxy recently did a Starias expose, and that was quite fun. I love that toy line. But yeah, it's very much kind of a separate aesthetic to what GI Joe typically has. So they're very much treated separately, like they're in their own little box. But seeing them integrated into play like this kind of makes you want to rush out and get them, even though they are absurd. And this is one of the better ones because it has a functional piece that goes over the action figure's mouth.
Yes.
To a lesser or greater degree. Like the back plug is unfortunately really, really big. So it doesn't seat very deep into the figure's back unless you're going to risk what you did last time, Ben, and snap off your back peg. So to get the back peg in and the respirator over their mouth, it's...
How cool is that?
Walking on eggshells.
The way they've got the flipper hanging down.
Brilliant. I'm glad you raised that. The Hydro Viper's flipper. Getting motion out of a limited style of articulation is incredible.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Those Joes are absolutely toast. What are they going to do? Pop their head up and it's over.
Game over, man. Game over.
That flipper, that is a little bit of, I think that's resolution playing against us. Because if I look really carefully, that's actually just the back flipper. Like, okay, maybe I misunderstood you because when you mentioned the flipper, I was like, oh, cool, the flipper's folded and maybe they used a bit of heat. But I see that that's just the back flipper that's like over the thing. So I don't know if that's what you meant, Ben. Sorry. Yeah. But there are actually two distinct flippers there. And if you look carefully, there is a bit of a tangent that is kind of making the one look like it's part of the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm a little bit down on this image because I feel like it doesn't have the detail. Because we've got this obvious cross-section, we've got rather flat and boring pieces of wood staring us in the face. But the counter to that is, as a child, with a bit of spare wood lying around, some nails and some glue, you could make this. And just as I was about to critique it for detail, I looked to the back, and behind the Hydro Viper, or what are they called? Sea Devils in Dutch. Behind the one Hydro Viper is a computer console sticker taken from the Warthog.
Just for a door thing. So you know that those two GI Joes in their scuba packs are still intact somewhere. There's a block of resin somewhere, and those two guys are stuck in that resin.
Yeah.
Like, it was poured.
Yeah. So I think that's why they try to keep it as simple as possible, because they wanted to have it that they could have it up against glass or something, and pour it in without weirdness, and so they wanted to mitigate the risk there quite a bit. It's very cool. Listen,
I think a great mantelpiece item. I'm not going to lie. Have Lightfoot encased in a block of resin on your mantelpiece.
I mean, for some people, they would say that's the best use for him, whatever. But
don't tell Chris McLeod that.
No, listen, I also like Lightfoot. I mean, I've got a bit of affection. I bought that toy because I wanted it when I was a kid, not because I got it by accident. But I love how
I got it by accident. It was a bummer Christmas gift. That
Now you heard Chris. Chris is like, oh, somewhere he's sitting right now while we're recording this. He's like,
Yeah.
what is
Neat
that?
guns, man. Well, Voltar was also a purchase. I think my parents got it for me for an Easter. And it's always nice to get an action figure at Easter because there's only so much fun you can have with eggs. But I always used to put Voltar's backpack on its side like that because I thought that bar was a perch for the vulture. It did not last long as a result because you can imagine like the pressure of clipping the vulture's feet onto this damn thing. It must have snapped almost immediately.
Oh my word!
Only now
hold
do
on.
I realize it is an aerial. It's supposed to be vertical. But this
I have
catalog
looked
doesn't help. This catalog is very unhelpful. They think that it's supposed to be a perch as well.
I picked up a few Joes for Easter. That's really reminded me of good times.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Something to play with while you eat your marshmallow eggs.
Yeah. Moving on.
Moving on.
Oh, okay. So this is just a bit too cut and paste. Is there too many? Is there Astro Viper? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Too many. One too many.
Yeah.
They're all doing the splits challenge.
Woo! Yeah.
Chief, I think you can take them, buddy. You can
In
take
my
those
head,
guys.
they're having too much fun. They're just like, wee!
Well, being on this little, miniaturized helicopter packs doesn't help.
Who's having the most fun? The guy at the front. Look at him. He's got full extended legs.
It's a carnival ride, clearly.
He's on a suicide trajectory as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Helicopters tilt forward to get, they tilt down to get forward motion, don't they?
The most serious guy is the dude at the back, at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. He's lining up the shot.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
Did they not see the RPVs before it was too late? And what is Knockdown's play here? Obviously, Cobra's too close.
But
for those
Knockdown's
missiles to...
pointing in their direction. They're coming from over the ridge, and he's
You know what? Ben, I've got your explanation for you, buddy. Knockdown is targeting something way, way, way in the distance.
Yeah.
These Cobras have snuck up on him using nap of the earth flying, ultra low level flying, and they've just, popped out of cover to drill him.
I think there's just not enough depth with them, is there? They all look like they're in the same plane, maybe.
Well, that
And
backdrop
also-
is probably touching the back guy.
Yeah, and also for me, color-wise, I don't necessarily like the image from there. A lot of red on the Astro Vipers, and there's a lot of red on the Joe side of the image, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think
much
you
red.
need those guys more coming toward the camera from a bit more of a distance, maybe.
And fewer of them. We could definitely lose two.
Easily lose two because definitely one of my least favorite images.
I'd check out the two middle guys. So the one above the 4 and the one below the 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy that they put them in different positions. Like they all have like a different vector. When they're facing.
Yeah.
That is, in fact, if I block out it's the RPV, right, Stephen?
Correct.
block
Remote
the
piloted vehicle. GI Joe had drones before drones were a thing.
And like if I block that out, this shot is actually a lot better in my imagination. And then vice versa, or rather should I say alternatively, if I block them out, then the RPV actually looks it looks less crap. To be fair, but I got to say this is probably the weakest one for me as well.
Yeah.
Even though I love Astro Vipers and I love that backpack. But
I would actually, I know you said take out the 2 above and below the 4 S-Jubs. I would take out the 3 in a diagonal line coming down and have the 2 that are the furthest in the distance kind
That
of
would give
remaining.
you more realism.
Yeah, and you get nice dynamism there as well. Because you've got a smaller one and a bigger one. Yeah.
It's got good comedy value, though. I mean, it's yeah.
Well, yes. Whee!
Yeah.
It must be said to Americans who might be scratching their heads at this point, this is the European exclusive RPV, which is the gray, red, and blue. Americans got a tan and white variety.
Lovely.
And I like the European one. And I am a little bit biased because it's the one I grew up with, but it looks good in gray, and it looks more like a utility vehicle. Like it fits in as like more the techie thing that GI Joe has, as opposed to something that would be frontline.
I think the best thing about the RPV for me is actually that little component that comes off it with the little radar. That's like the best part of the RPV. That
I was always scratching my head as to which was the remote piloted vehicle. What of the RPV is the drone? Is it that little thing? Is the whole thing supposed to be automated? Is the missile the drone? I guess it's the missile. And that thing's just a little portable radar unit for guidance and homing.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I'm happy to see the next one.
As am I.
Yeah.
Paulie, what do you think of spread number 13?
Ooh,
It's got your favorite jet.
Lovely.
Oh, it's a spready. Yes, there's my favorite jet. Actually, yeah, very much so my favorite jet.
Pilot called Ghost. No.
It's on the canopy. Come on, Ben.
Oh yeah, Ghost Rider. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my last vehicle I ever got for my birthday. That was my kind of exit vehicle. And annoyingly, I swapped it for a bunch of Marvel trading cards. Jeez.
Oh, sorry.
Awful. Because it is so cool. I love this scene because the hangar that's rad.
The detail on that mesh.
Is that Slipstream on the right?
Yeah.
Tally
No
ho.
friends. Yeah, exactly. What an old school design.
Yeah.
And, well, so is Ghost Riders with the scarf, the open face mask.
You know, a lot of this is what it's not showing you. You know, I like the crop on this because that hangar is massive and not even showing the full planes. It's just really cool.
Now they're about to embark on a mission or coming back. I think about to go.
Going. And he's his map or something.
Well, the Phantom is a two-seater, and Maverick would make sense as your. Well, I mean, in this instance, he would be the pilot. I've always been led to believe the front seat of the Phantom is the pilot seat, and the back seat is the co-pilot seat or
Maverick
radar operator.
So well. That's so realistic. It's fantastic.
The motion. And he's called Arend in Dutch, which is eagle.
Eagle.
Yeah.
No,
Surprisingly, a code name that no English-speaking GI Joe release had. Like, no one's called Eagle. Why is that?
Right.
Yeah. We got a Falcon, a Raptor, a Hawk. No Eagle.
Maybe they were saving Eagle for like the big guy that they just never did, or whatever. Maybe they can never agree on who should be Eagle. Maybe there's a connotations with the eagle in America because eagle is their national bird. So,
the canopy looks stunning, doesn't it? The way you can see through.
So shiny.
Yeah, that is a minty brand new toy, boys. They just pulled it out of its box for the shoot.
I gotta put a spotlight on Ben from earlier when you couldn't remember Ghost Rider's name.
Perfect. It's the running gag from 1988 till present day. Isn't that right, Chief? Larry's still cracking that one.
Even now, Larry slips that into the script.
Of course. But hey, we spoke last week about the fact that they always make the toys look like toys by shooting at that kind of raised point of view. Here, we're not getting that. We're getting their point of view, a very scaled human point of view. So it's actually hiding most of the detail, the form, the shape of these jets.
Yeah, when I look at this
Catalogue blows my mind, guys. The kind of restraint.
I can hear the engines going, the doors opening, tech, mechanics running it, hustle and bustle. These boys are going into it.
Yeah, this is a great example, like you mentioned, of you don't need to show everything and pan back. Sometimes cropping in and showing less actually lets you see more.
Yeah.
Makes you imagine it. Like as a kid, you're looking at that and you're itching to buy one of these or to see one of these in the shop because you want to see what the rest of the Phantom looks like. You want to see what the rest of the Conquest looks like. Yeah, totally.
I'm guessing this might be the age of the catalogue and the quality of the image, but it looks very matte black, doesn't it? It's not, you know, I've never held a Phantom. I haven't seen it in the flesh, so I don't know, but it doesn't look, the bodywork doesn't look very shiny black. It looks kind of a dulled matte black.
Grey, isn't it? Well, yeah.
It has a rough texture to it. Funny you should mention that. Yeah, it does definitely not have a sheen to it, whereas the Conquest does. And I think that was an attempt, at least on the part of the toy designers, to emulate what they called black ball paint, which was non-radar reflective, which is kind of absorb radar. That was the theory of what stealth technology was back in the late 80s.
Cool.
So they try to bring that out in this toy.
The landing gear is heaven on that thing, by the way.
When it works.
Jeez,
oh, man.
It's beautiful. I'm going to dig out some photos of that, Chief.
I've got some photos of when I recently got a Phantom X90. When I say recently, I'm talking about like 10 years ago. And I got a boxed one, and it was from a seller in Belgium. So it is actually a European X19. So it's like,
it could be that one. It could be that one.
It could be, hey, right? Yeah, no, but I got to assemble it, so jury's out. But it's also called the La Invisible. So whatever. Part of my pronunciation.
Don't butcher the French, boy. Something I meant to mention up front, but it's actually more appropriate now, was a comment by Ted Terranova on the previous video, just talking about how much dead space these images had and how they weren't crammed with the action figures and vehicles showing off absolutely everything that they had. Yeah. And he said that it has a very much a Jerry Anderson feel to it. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Being Brits, surely. So yeah, man, perhaps the vintage grain on it also helps sell that look and feel. And the fact that you are effectively just seeing cool toys in pseudo-realistic settings. You know, like a lot of the equipment and stuff and the mise en scène and the set dressing betrays the fact that this is meant to look like a toy set and not a photoreal, film set. Yeah,
it's a good balance.
Absolutely.
Next.
So let's move from this atmospheric briefing, getting ready shot, and the bird in flight.
Ooh, there she is.
And I'm thinking
interesting that they had showcased this as a product for sale on the previous image, and they felt, listen, we got to do this justice. Let's give it a whole page to itself, because this is I guess it's a high-end premium piece. We want to sell this, so let's show them even more of it.
And when I used to play with it, that is exactly what you'd be doing, because that puppy can fly in the fringes of space, the upper stratosphere. And
so did you wait till the dead of night, Ben, and take it for a spin under the stars?
It's high up, and you've got some, maybe the moon is just giving it that little bit of gorgeous light to it. That is lush.
Is there two people in it or just one?
Looks like it's just Ghost Rider. I guess you don't. If it is focused on this product, you don't want to necessarily muddy the waters by having an unincluded figure being featured. It's like, boom, this is what you get.
Yeah,
that's true. I can agree with that. And also, I think it's really good that they just sold the whole thing as is, because I think the X19 is a scene stealer. If you put anything else in that shot, nobody would care.
Yeah, and you don't want to see that thing in daylight as well. There's no better way to light that thing than that. It's just stealth. Because the blacks, look how black the blacks are. It's lush.
So sexy.
They have actually replicated the same angle as the box.
Box art, yeah.
The box art has that exact same framing. Yeah. Beautiful. Best way to show off the Phantom's unique configuration. That teardrop is just stunning.
Guys, I actually went forward. Sorry.
Let's do it.
It's a good one.
Spread number 15. It's mayhem.
It's action shot.
Ooh.
The geeks are going on the rampage, man.
Favorite is the Techno. Are they Techno-Vipers?
Correctamundo.
Yeah, the dude on the ladder, man, just trying to patch in or do something. It's just great. Is that a smash and grab job? I mean,
I'm thinking this is a Cobra base that they have been instructed to scuttle. It's like GI Joe's on the move, guys. They are going to inherit nothing but ashes. So
not
Techno-Vipers.
sure about Joe's.
Oh,
I don't know. They're fine. What is that? Red Dog and Hardball.
yes. Yeah. Hardball is about to like ventilate these guys with like some serious shrapnel.
Oh,
I mean, like it's not going to take much for him to blow them to pieces. Clearly, whatever job they don't finish, he's going to finish for them.
I'm saying this is some kind of Cobra heist, or they're breaking in, and they've sent this squad of Techno-Vipers to disable the security elements of the building so that the other Cobra force elsewhere can get in and get what they want.
It's definitely a disabling vibe.
Yeah. With extreme prejudice.
Is that guy trying to break out through the window?
No, that's the recoil, isn't it, on what he's just done, I think, for sure. Because
what I mean is, he's smashing the window to what? To get away?
I don't know. I think he's trying to get in there. I think he's trying to destroy that technology that's in there. I think he's trying to smash the glass to get in there to disable it or whatever's. Because for me, the story in my mind is that these Techno-Vipers have infiltrated a Joe base or a Joe installation or some installation that GI Joe is trying to intercept to protect. That's the feeling I get. Like that's why they're wrecking it, because there's obviously some supercomputer that's got a database of every Cobra trooper or whatever, and they have to destroy it. So
okay, let's take it to the comments, boys.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
If you think that this is Cobra scuttling a base, comment as such in the comment section. If you think that this is Cobra on a heist, as Chief says, put that in the comment section. And Paul, what was your suggestion, buddy?
That it's Techno-Vipers that are infiltrating this place. They're infiltrating this base.
It's a Joe base.
Okay, so basically you guys have a similar suggestion. They kind of align. So basically, is Cobra on the attack or on the retreat? Let us know in the comment section.
Check out Red Dog's shadow as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, wow, that's so clever. I didn't even notice that.
Nice.
I'm just to pick up the beefcake gun of his.
Look at the lighting, the dots on the floor.
I'm mesmerized.
What's going on?
Yeah, and it's like in my mind that's like a fire hose in the back there, because I don't know if it's like this in the UK, but like here we've got fire hoses that are like put on the wall like that, and these like red cylindrical sort of installations on the wall. So that to me, I saw that and I was thinking, oh cool, that's like the fire hydrant, so in case something goes down. But anyway, yeah, I love that.
Now the Techno-Viper coming down the ladder, so I'm guessing he has got some kind of tile or something that they've removed. They've come from the ceiling above. They've removed some sort of part of the floor or tile, and then they've dropped one of these rope ladders down, and he's on his way down. So there's potentially action even on the floor above as well.
I think, is it the crease in the page that kind of, that line, is there, or is it a banister? I don't know. There's something there that I don't like, but I think it's just the crease.
I think there's more to it than the crease. But no. Oh, jeez, Ben.
Yeah, there is a handrail or something there.
The Techno-Viper's going to vault over that rail to try and get hardball. He hasn't seen Red Dog, and Red Dog puts 2 in the back of his head.
Yeah.
Nice. That's R-rated, but lovely.
Yay. There's a lot going on. I can't honestly say, Ben, if there's a banister or not. If there is, it's way too thin, so it does create a visual interruption.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an interruption there, but it's really cool. Really cool.
Guys, I'm sorry, I have to comment on this translation for the one name. I imagine it's Hardball's name, but Honkball.
Yeah, well, that's baseball in Dutch.
I don't mean to like sound insensitive. It's just like it's such a funny sounding word in my head, like honkball.
Yeah.
And Red Dog is bloedhond, which is bloodhound.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. But like honkball, I mean, yeah,
it is a strange looking word if you're not familiar. But there's so much going on. Lovely use of like capacitors and circuit boards and whatever that silver piping is. So nice.
Oh, that's shower, for like
Of course, yes. Yeah. That you pull out of the sort of the slots in the bath suite.
It's cool.
Yes.
Techno-Vipers in their environment doing the kind of stuff that they would be doing. It's wicked.
Mayhem.
I love those purple monsters. They're so cool. Never saying that again. Just heard it in my head.
So there was a version 1 Techno-Viper, yeah?
Yeah,
That's it.
1987. But obviously collapsed into the 1990 series for this release, which is how we got them in SA, actually.
Okay, moving on.
All right, moving on. Bam, spread number 16.
Ooh,
What is
no,
it?
Podcast. Ooh, Desert Strike.
You had this, Ben.
Is that Mean Dog? No.
Correct, yeah. It's two Mean Dogs. And it's so clever, showing them, one in its complete fashion and the other one broken up into its constituent parts.
My friend bought that, and I put 2 of the Sky Patrol parachutes on it, and I
don't like where this is going.
And they didn't do anything.
Dude.
And when his mum came to pick him up, he was like, "Ben broke my Mean Dog." I was like, "Man, sorry, dude."
You chump. Extreme Sports Ben. Oh God.
Now this is the kind of setup that we would do.
Yes.
Just Joe's setting up a perimeter base or some kind of listening post kind of thing, just out on patrol.
Yeah.
Paul, the first word that came to your mouth was Desert Strike, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same perspective. Just
It is.
overlay a helicopter.
Great game.
Oh, it so is. That's all I can see now.
And I love that.
Like Command and Conquer, I want to kind of click over those units and then move them over there.
Now,
you double click the Mean Dog and it kind of breaks up into its 3 sections.
I think we touched on this briefly on Talking Joe S-Jubs on one episode, but are there any specific vehicles that you deem, and Paul as well, that you deem to be unique and there be only one of? Obviously, we're seeing 2 Mean Dogs here. There's probably a fleet of Mean Dogs. Just because Wildcard is the driver of one, doesn't mean that there can't be others that have other drivers. But are there any vehicles that are unique and there's only one of in the Joe universe?
Paul, you can take a crack at this, man.
I like to believe that the X19 is the only one ever made. Like that's definitely one of them for me. And also,
Paul, what about the Condor's kill marks then?
See, but that's
because the Condor has several X19 symbols on its hull. I think they have strikes through them. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's like the equivalent of a B-wing taking out X-wings. It's not happening.
I think most vehicles have got, many of. It's only kind of like really character-specific type things that I think would have one vehicle, maybe.
I kind of feel like stuff like the Defiant and the MCC are also sort of one-shot items. They only ever made one. Because I know that...
Doesn't the MCC have a number on it? Isn't it 6?
Yeah, but maybe they had a few failed ones before then. I don't know. 6 is more interesting than, like, number 1.
Anyway, back to this image.
I'm being a troll. My answer, I think, Chief, was along the lines of also, like, there is a fleet of Mean Dogs, for instance. Though it seems like in the comic books, they've only ever been showcased one at a time.
Yeah. Oh, Rolling Thunder. There's only one Rolling Thunder. Yeah.
Whereas I think there would be at least a fleet of Mobats. Like GI Joe gets the cutting edge experimental stuff, so the numbers might be severely limited. But I think in order to be a practical field unit, they need multiples of things like APCs, helicopters. I mean, they got tons of Tomahawks, I'm sure. Havoc, yeah sure. Why you would want more than one of those death traps, I'll never know.
Chief, how you feeling about this, buddy? You're a Mean Dog.
It's okay. I think something about it is throwing me off a little bit. I think it's potentially that the Joes are quite spaced out, and I would like to have seen at least two of them together having a conversation or doing something like that. It's just a little bit, and to your point, Paul, there is the triangle there, but it's like my eye isn't naturally guiding my brain across the image. It's kind of a bit scattershot.
I agree with you there. I feel like every piece there is like a composition unto itself, and that it's not very whole. Like, yeah.
The scale is a bit funny. It looks a bit miniature-y. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, it's the road. I mean, why would you bother paving a road if it's so A, thin, and B, going nowhere? I think there could be less road on this spread.
Definitely. Although I do love that we get to see the mean dog as they show it in the catalog, because I think a lot of people only ever, at least as kids, I think a lot of people only just saw the main image and were like, okay, well, it's a hinky, like, kind of armored thing with a big gun. But when you see it kind of detached and that it's like a little base, you know, this is a good thing to like show to your parents when you're a kid, when you're trying to convince them to buy your birthday present.
It's two toys in one.
It's actually three. It's actually three. You know.
Wow. Now, does the back portion of the mean dog does that have an engine? Can that actually be driven, or can it only be pulled by the front section?
Look, I think they are self-propelled.
Right.
But where the engine is anybody's guess. I reviewed this back in GI Joburg's prehistory, and I made the points about particularly the front section, because what you're not seeing, and Paul, I mean, I know this is showing off a lot of what the mean dog can do, but what is not being showcased at all is the fact that the front section of the front section flips up. It is a clamshell, it opens, and you can seat 3 guys in there. But with 3 guys in there, and presumably an axle right underneath their asses, where's the engine?
How is that propelled?
Yeah. I mean, you expect that giant grill to house a beefy engine, but there's no engine under there. There's pedal power. Maybe they all have pedals. It's like a recumbent bike.
Flintstones
magic.
Flintstones, exactly. Guys, before we close the chapter on this image, I want you all to have a good look for where Shockwave is and how chilled he be.
Oh yeah!
Oh, dude,
nice.
He's got it. He's posed with his arm up. He's like,
that's nice.
Good times.
Where is he?
Come on, Chief, get those glasses checked, mate.
It's like a Where's Wally situation here.
Oh,
for our American viewers,
I think perhaps the action figure stylist, dream job, if you ask me. His mandate was, I love this figure, and I'm going to make him look like the man in absolutely every setup.
I'm going to sneak him in, yeah.
Chief, are you kidding me?
I can't see him.
I can't see him.
Top left, Chief. He's in the gunner, well, not the gunner, the sort of, I don't know, the missile command section of the
Holy smoke.
Top mean dog.
And 3 BF2000 guys as well. Nice.
Yeah, man, they're just regular Joes. And if you ask me, the mean dog is a more futuristic battle weapon than the BF2K vehicles. Like, this is where they belong.
Yeah.
Nice. Lads, I've got time for one more image.
Oh, yeah. Here comes
Carry
the
that box
boys.
on ball, and then we'll go to the next one.
Spread 17, man.
Ooh. This is madness.
Toxic Crusaders.
Now, I thought that was cotton wool that's been pulled apart. But if you look kind of to the left of the tree, you can see bubbles. So they've actually got some kind of foam. I guess they've sprayed foam.
Yeah, I got some big issues with that tree, I think.
It's in the way.
Yeah. It's in the way.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Too much with that tree. It's not good.
That's crazy composition. That's absolutely crazy. Right in the middle. I think there's a good image in there somewhere if you lost that.
If you take the tree out, definitely, I agree.
Those Toxos look incredible on the run. The ones in the back where the kind of, it's almost misty as well, coming off of that foam, and they kind of don't know what to do. Do we turn and fight? One of them's turning around to maybe give another shot, and one guy's legging it in the background. Oh, they look great.
The only thing I do with those Toxos is I think you've got to have 3 planes. You've got to bring one of them further forward. So you've got background, mid, and then have that guy, a bit more forward where the tree is or something. Because that tree is wild.
Like it's really selling the kind of the witch's cauldron look to the scene. It's very Macbeth. It's bubble, bubble, toil and trouble.
The tree is kind of out of focus a little bit. It's just a weird shot, isn't it?
Covered in muck.
That's just noise.
What's lovely is that light coming from the Toxo-Vipers behind there, or something's bubbling.
Which you cannot not see. It pulls you. It's like, wow, that tree. Ooh, bright light. Because that tree is just such a mess.
A word on posing. So the Toxo-Viper helmet, once it's sealed and locked in place, cannot swivel. So what is so groovy about the background unit is that his helmet is turned. So they have unsealed it, moved it to give it some character. To sell the pose of like, guys, this way.
I love that if you found yourself in the Toxo-Viper division, it was like a punishment. You've been
super
down. Yeah. You're just cleaning up bogs.
They seem to translate into Dutch as gifaders, which means poison vipers.
Snake.
Yeah, and apparently in their file card, like their suits aren't even that good, apparently, aren't they?
Built by the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
Bluffer.
Very good.
Sorry, I just saw like number 3 is bluffer. Bluffer. Like for a direct translation in Afrikaans, it sounds like he barks a lot. Like he's like a dog.
Well, it's Blaster, yeah.
Yeah. Bluffer.
Is it Blaster?
Yeah.
And he's about to blast those Toxos. I mean, like, what is Cobra's move here? They're about to get smeared. The Swamp Masher's gun is probably its biggest selling point because it is a weird thing. But kids love miniguns.
I love that nice rock formation behind that tree that you can't see properly.
And what do you guys think they use for the foam? I've got a feeling it's shaving cream, and then they just let it. Yeah,
good shout.
Yeah,
I think that's what they went for. Totally. I love stuff like this. It just like this is a little bit too Masters of the Universe for me. I will say.
It's the palette that makes you think that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
the palette. Now, what does the Toxo-Viper's gun shoot?
The question of the ages. Another good one for the comments section. If you've got any good suggestions, dear listener, you know what to do.
Because they're a cleanup kind of.
I think they also work to destabilize environments, or they're sent into environments that are already very hazardous to do Cobra's dirty work. So if there is a nuclear reactor meltdown and Cobra wants to steal something, some sensitive information that is now within the quarantine zone, these are the guys who get the short straw. But to answer your question, Chief, I think it's a combination weapon. Gotta be. Because it seems to have a gun barrel. We've seen it in the comic books spewing smoke. So maybe those gas tanks on the backpack house some kind of noxious gas, or they kind of be outfitted with CS gas or, I don't know, corrosives maybe. So the sky's the limit, I guess.
Yeah, there's something not right with the way the vehicle is sitting in the foam in the foreground, but then the other side of
the back wheels, they're hovering, aren't they?
They just look.
Yeah, I know it's not, but it almost looks a little bit superposed on top of the image.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah. But then it's not because of the foreground. But yeah, it's just.
I'd love to see more contact between the terrain and the Swamp Masher, because it's got this fabulous kind of rolling wheel hub. So to see all of the wheels engaging in different angles and coping with the terrain in different ways would
Yeah,
probably
it
sell
needed
to me
to
a
be
bit better.
moved. It needed to be moved a little bit back onto that rock that's behind it, kind of almost coming down that rock to chase the Vipers. I think a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think we've got enough images though left in this catalogue. Correct me if I'm wrong. To do another show.
Oh yes, and Paul, you may not flick to the last 3 because I want to watch you. I want to watch you lose your mind in real time.
I've been like super disciplined with this, and I don't want to spoil it for myself because this has been a great experience for me, and I don't want to like trash it by seeing stuff ahead of time. So I'm actually closing that window now so that I don't accidentally.
Very good. As am I, gents. Once again, thanks very much for joining us. This is my happy place. Talking Joe with Talking Joe
And Dusty.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess there's nothing left to say other than Yo Joburg, everybody.
See you
Yo,
guys.
Joburg.
Yo, Joburg.